Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Madam Nur Faiza and my fellow friends. My name is Siti Nolena binti Razif. My group members are Fairuz Auni binti Mat Hilman, Nur Zulaika Afifi binti Hashim, and Nurul Ashikin binti Mahadi. So today we will present about the role and responsibility of Board of Directors towards risk management. So let's begin. Okay, first, I will explain about the risk management. So what is risk management? It is the process of identifying, assessing and controlling threats to an organization's capital and profitability. Financial uncertainties, technology challenges, strategic management failure, accidents and also natural disasters are all potential causes of risk. Every company faces the possibility of unpredictable damaging occurrence that could cause it money or cause it to close. Risk management also focuses on the relationship between risk and the potential for them to have a cascade effect of an organization's strategic goals. Next, I will explain about the Board of Directors. Board of Directors is a group of people that are elected to represent shareholders. They do not participate in a day-by-day decision making. Instead, they establish overall policy based on company's mission and vision, and also they exercise oversight by review the actions of its officers and executives. In general, the board acts as a fiduciary on behalf of shareholders when making decisions. Other than that, members of the board should have experience and leadership positions in a specific area that can benefit the company. For example, if your company is in a technical field such as computers, you should have people who have held leadership positions in that field. They will know people who can assist you and they are familiar with the complexities of operating and managing this type of business. Last but not least, there are two types of Board of Directors, which are Executive Director and Non-Executive Director. An Executive Director is a full-time employee who works as the operating director of a company, while a Non-Executive Director is a member of the Board of Directors who is not part of the executive team. So, a non-executive director is not usually involved in day-to-day operation of the business, but they participate in policy making and planning activities. So, I will hand over to Ashikin to explain more about this topic.
Thank you, Lena. Now I will proceed with the roles and responsibility of the Board of Directors towards risk management. The roles and responsibility of the Board of Directors of today are expected to represent independence and diverse or different points of view in order to manage the organization. Their main roles and responsibility is to perform the duties of strategic planning and oversight. Hence, there are 6 roles and responsibility of the Board of Directors towards risk management, which are increased scrutiny over risk, potential loss area, finding the balance between taking and managing risk, development of policies, procedures and awareness, area of risk management oversight, and risk management oversight from a broad perspective. Firstly, increased scrutiny over risk. What is scrutiny over risk? Scrutiny is defined as inspection or critical observation over the risk. The Board of Directors or the top management need to increase the accountability and scrutiny in managing the risk within the company. Corporate governance needs to take a stronger role in corporate risk through forming policies, that can prevent risk management policies in an organization. These emerged trends have encouraged the directors to evaluate the organizational exposure to risk. The national economy demands the board to have a progression planning, takes a step forward, and to supervise the current financial risk and the exposure to minimize the impact of the financial risk. For example, in 2018, the financial crisis in New York Stock Exchange, corporate governance has included the risk assessment and risk management in audit committee converse. Last but not least, the Commercial Credit Rating Agency required the assessment of commercial risk management processes to be included in corporate credit ratings, and this change has made the risk management item to be dominant in board director agendas. Next is the potential loss area. What does it mean by potential loss area? It can be defined in the circumstances where that could be expected to result in loss, and these potential losses need to be disclosed by the board of directors. And several researchers have discussed the roles and responsibility of independent board of directors in improving financial reporting and disclosure quality. This loss exposure is the risk of loss, or more specifically to risk of financial loss as a result of a specific threat striking a specific asset to which you have given value. In addition, based on IFRS 7 requires a business to provide disclosure in their financial statement that allow users to assess the nature and the amount of risk arising from financial instrument to which the entity is exposed during the period and at the end of the reporting period, and how the entity manage those risks. Board of directors needs to expose the financial loss, which include real and personal property, that is intangible and tangible, and personal losses. Also, revenue can be lost by gross profit margin and the increasing of expenses. The consequences of poor risk management can be fine or other legal complication and can affect the organization reserve badly. Last but not least, the financial impact can be included with a routine loss such as insurance deductibles, retention amount or exclusion, net insurance proceeds, cost for loss control measures, claim management expenses, and administrative costs to manage programs. That is all from me. I will hand over to Fairuz to continue the presentation.
Thank you, Ashkin. Next, I will explain the other role and responsibility of Board of Directors towards risk management. So, the third role and responsibility of Board of Directors is finding the balance between taking and managing risk. Board members, executive directors, managers, and stakeholders are aware that taking risk has strategic benefits and that achieving growth has some level of risk. Managers struggle to strike a balance between creating value and mitigating risk while handling complicated business transactions. The starting point of many risk management processes is identifying and assessing risk. However, before this occurs, the company needs to better understand their risk appetite, which is the amount of risk they are willing to accept in pursuit of the business strategy. This allows companies to more effectively identify risk to their chosen strategy. Once risk has identified, they should be categorized into the three categories, which are: first, strategic risk. Strategic risk is offer positive benefits towards the company goal, which makes this risk a balancing act. Second, preventable risk. Preventable risk is offer no positive benefits and should be eliminated, avoided, or transferred. Third, external risk. External risk is despite offering a positive or negative benefits. These risks are out of the company's control, and as such, the focus should be on mitigating the likelihood of occurrence. This allows companies to identify both positive and negative risks for a given strategy. The second component of step 1 is to design risk response plans for identified risks. Separating risks into the 3 categories enable companies to design cost-effective and efficient risk response plans within their risk appetite. Once the manager has identified the 3 categories of risk, which is strategic risk, preventable risk, and external risk, they try to balance it on how to manage the risk. For example, avoid the risk, prevent the risk, and contain the risk. Okay, for the next role and responsibility of board of directors towards risk management is development of policies, procedures, and awareness. The board of directors should not have a direct role in risk management, and their responsibility should be restricted to risk oversight of management and risk related to corporate. Boards can perform their risk oversight duty without becoming personally involved in risk management by, first, developing policies and procedures around risks that are consistent with the organization's strategy and risk appetite. The board should create or develop policies and procedures as it is one of the duties of top management in order to achieve well-developed management in an organization. It also can lead to managing the risk and providing benefits and opportunity. Second, following up on management implementation of risk management policies and procedures. Do you know why it is important? It is because when the board should make a follow-up, it will help company to identify risks, as it will be easier for them to take an action in order to avoid the risk happening. Afterwards, the boards can follow up to ensure that risk management policies and procedures function as they are intended. And why is it necessary? The reason is related to the workers themselves, as it is important for every worker to have a safe place to work. Having well-developed policies and procedures, a firm can successfully see the direction and objective for the future. And last, taking steps to foster risk awareness and encourage an organizational culture of risk adjusting awareness. The board may focus on taking a step for risk awareness in order to reduce incidents. The organization needs to encourage a culture of risk adjusting awareness by being aware and sensitive towards the risks that may occur in the workplace. That's all from me. I will hand over to Afifi to explain more about the responsibility of Board of Directors towards risk management.
Thank you, Fairuz Ami. Next is the area of risk management oversight. From a domestic and global perspective, the Board of Directors should be looking at the areas that may be at risk or are out of compliance with established risk management best practices. The Board of Directors is in charge of risk oversight. The unitary or supervisory board is in charge of deciding the company's strategies and business model, as well as determining and agreeing on the level of risk involved. The Board of Directors also is in charge of overseeing management strategy and operational risk management implementation. Furthermore, corporate executives also are responsible for developing and implementing a company strategy and routine operational risk program in accordance with the board plan and under its supervision. Besides, the shareholder have a responsibility to review and monitor the efficacy of boards in supervising risk at the companies in which they participate, either directly or through authorized agent, and to decide what amount of resources they will devote to this effort. So, here are the sources of the board's risk oversight responsibilities, including state law fiduciary duties, federal and state laws and regulation, stock exchange listing requirement, and some established and evolving best practices both domestically and internationally. Risk management may be under the responsibility of more than one committee, including the risk management or audit committees. The committees should be coordinated so that the communication occurs both horizontally and vertically to efficiently and effectively covers all areas of risk. The committees report to the board on the effectiveness and efficiency of risk management measures, giving the board confidence the management will back them up. Last but not least, risk management monitoring from a broad viewpoint is part of the board of directors' role and responsibilities in risk management. Even if the board of directors lack of experience in the field, the board members must have a good understanding of risk management. Outside consultants' expertise may be enlisted by the board to assist them in reviewing firm risk management system and analyzing business-specific hazard. Annually, the board of directors should conduct a formal review of risk management system. Risk oversight policies and processes should be reviewed at the board and committee level as part of the yearly review, and risk should be assessed on a continuous basis. Arrange for a formal annual presentation on risk management best practices to familiarize the board with expectations within the industry or regulatory bodies in which the firm works. Management should communicate lessons learned from past missteps as part of the yearly risk management review. Concern about risk management have reached an all-time high. Risk management will continue to be a difficult aspect of the board decision-making for the foreseeable future. Poor risk management methods have a lot on the line. From top to the bottom, the influence will be felt across the board, management and stakeholders. Taking a strategic approach to risk management should serve as more than a checklist. Risk management should be integrated in the organization culture, strategy and day-to-day operation. The most difficult risk management task that the board faces is navigating organizational growth while shielding the organization from undue risk so that it does not negatively damage the business. That's all from me. I will hand it over to Liana to conclude about the topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Afifi. So I will conclude this topic. So risk management is the process by which management assess the nature and scope of risk that apply to a company, designs and implement appropriate controls to mitigate the risk, and monitors the controls to ensure that they are working effectively, all under the supervision of Board of Directors. So a company's governance committee can ensure that the organization is prepared to deal with risk and crises by analyzing individual director competencies, nominating directors with crisis management knowledge, taking into account the time each director and nominee has to contribute to the firm. So hence, risk management should be included in the routine responsibilities of board committees, as it is one of the crucial issues if one does not properly manage the risk. So that's all from us. Thank you for listening.